Today is going to be a bit of a story time video because I would like to talk to you about my experience with Nahko Bear. I'm a huge Nahko and the Medicine for the People fan. When I was living in London, a lot of my stories are going back to when I was living in London. I went to their concert. This was their first concert they've ever done in London. It was a really nice, intimate venue. Not a lot of people, a couple of hundred, I would say. It was back in the time when he wasn't so famous, and the Medicine for the People, the band, wasn't as famous either. At the end of the concert, all the members of the band came out and they signed things and they chatted with us and gave out hugs to their fans. And I kind of started talking with one of the band members, and they were just telling me that, I think this was Patty, he was telling me that they're going to be hanging out in the hotel space, and in the lobby, not in the hotel room, the lobby later on, and whether I wanted to join them. Me and a handful of other people, maybe there was 10 of us or something like that, or 15 of us, who ended up going back to their hotel, and we ended up hanging out with the band, with Nahko and all the rest of the people. My experience with him and with the band, well, I would say that every single member of the band, the experience I had with them or the way they came across were incredibly humble and also fun and all that kind of stuff. Nahko, however, I'm sorry Nahko if you're watching this. Obviously I only hung out with them two nights because I hung out with them that night, and the next night I was invited back to the concert, and I went back to their second concert, and then I was hanging out with them again the second night. At the time, this was 2016, he was quite arrogant. I think for me, one thing that really stood out was just oh my gosh, this guy who writes all these songs about, improving yourself and loving compassionately and all that kind of stuff. He came across incredibly egotistical and arrogant. The way he was really didn't resonate with me, and it didn't feel like it was in integrity or in alignment with his music. And at the same time, the people around him, so the people in the band, were very much like the music, and so that kind of led me to believe that Nahko in some ways is also like that, but maybe he's just gotten a little bit carried away with the fame, even though at that time he wasn't that famous, but he was already quite famous. I know that Nahko had a bit of a fallout, or he was cancelled whatever last year for playing women. People came out and said, look, he was inappropriate with me, or he kind of lied to me, X, Y, and Z. I could totally see that happening just based on my experience with him. And at the same time, I think he wrote an apology to say that he is trying to be better, and he's wanting to make a change in himself. And at the same time, he said that he's not going to take responsibility for what he didn't do, which he said was he didn't sexually abuse anyone. I wasn't there, I don't know, right? So all I'm saying is that I think with the cancel culture, we're not really allowing for people to change or for people to make wrongs right. And I feel like it's important that everyone is given a chance to change. I'm not saying that you should forgive him. I'm just saying more as a society, how we function and how we see people's shortcomings feels very toxic, because no one is perfect. If you're perfect, then congratulations to you. People aren't perfect, and we're gonna make mistakes, and we're gonna do things that we wish we would have done differently. And I feel like it's incredibly unfair to write someone off completely because of the way they have acted before, and especially if they're willing to change and if they're willing to make the steps to change. Anyway, I'll see you tomorrow.